What's going on, guys? This is Vince with vshred.com, and in today's video I'm going to show you the 5 worst lateral raise mistakes that I see made and how to fix them so that you can start getting more out of your exercise. Like I said, today's video is going to be all about lateral raise mistakes so that the next time that you go to the gym to do some lateral raises, you're doing it right, because it's obviously a great exercise. If you're trying to get wider shoulders, it hits that medial head of your deltoid. Whenever you're lifting your arms out to the side, you are bringing your elbow up in line with your shoulder and you're shortening that muscle. It's obviously going to help build those delts. But if you're doing it wrong, you're obviously not going to be getting the most out of it. So today I'm going to walk you through 5 of the biggest mistakes that I see made. Before I get into that, if you want some help with getting that definition really showing in your shoulder, you got to focus on lowering your body fat percentage. If you want some help with that, I got a quick free quiz right below this video in the description that will show you how to burn body fat faster depending on your body type, so that you can get results by doing what you should be doing and not some one-size-fits-all plan that doesn't work for you. So if you want some help with lowering body fat percentage and building some lean muscle, hit the link right below this video, take the free quiz, watch the video at the end, and that's all. Now, getting into this video, the first mistake, and it's going to start right from the beginning of the exercise, which is when you pick up the weights and you're resting at the bottom. Because yes, it's okay to pick up the weights and start with your arms down by your side, but if you're going down with your arms down by your side and you're resting for a second or a half a second in between each rep, and you're going down and you're pausing for a sec, and then you're going into the next rep, you're pausing for a sec, going into the next rep, that's not going to be the continuous tension that you need on the muscle to really get the most out of your set. If you're trying to build such a small muscle like that, you got to focus on time under tension. That's really what's going to create that hypertrophy in the muscle. And so that is what you need to focus on, not trying to get one rep and then resting for a second at the bottom, because you might not even be realizing that you're resting for a second, but the next time you go to do the exercise, watch yourself. When you do bring that weight back down to your side, make sure that you're going right back into the next rep. Don't sit down there for half a second and then go into the next one, and it's gonna make your sets a lot more valuable. Mistake number 2 is creating momentum with your lower body. And this could actually also be creating momentum with your upper body as well, because if you are bringing your arms in front of your body from here to about here, you're not going to be working your delts like you would be when you're all the way up here. And so if you're creating a bunch of momentum from right here to right there, stop doing that. And I personally just like to start with the dumbbells by my side, because there's no point in bringing them all the way in here unless you're using cables. But also with your lower body, you want to make sure that you're not bouncing with your knees, because if you're bouncing with your knees and you have to do that to get the weight up, you're going too heavy. So drop weight, focus on getting rid of that bounce. Something you could also do is just sit down on a bench and then just do the lateral raises on the bench, and that's going to just completely get rid of any kind of cheating momentum that you could have with your lower body. And by getting rid of that momentum, you're going to be putting all of the emphasis into the muscle that's actually being used to lift the weight. Mistake number 3 is you're not controlling the eccentric contraction of the exercise. And this is usually a result of going too heavy, but it could also be you not going too heavy, but just not focusing on that part of the contraction. Because every rep that you've ever done in your entire life has 3 contractions. You have and for the lateral raise, you have your concentric, which is the way up. You have isometric, which could be holding at the top, could be holding in the middle, could be even holding near the bottom. That's isometric. And then the eccentric is the way back down, the lengthening of the muscle. And so you want to make sure that you're focusing on the eccentric contraction, because that's where your muscles are going to be the strongest. You're able to lower weight. You're able to lower weight slower than you can actually lift the weight up. That's why if you do pick up, like, let's say 20, 25 pound dumbbells, and you do put them and you do raise them up, you can actually really control it slowly on the way back down because your muscles are stronger eccentrically. But if you're just throwing the weight up and then dropping it down super fast, you're just completely missing out on the strongest contraction of the three, which is where you could be making a lot more gains. So next time you go to do lateral raises, make sure you're not only focusing on squeezing the muscle on the way up, but you're also focusing on controlling it on the way back down and and holding that tension in the muscle throughout the entire rep. Mistake number 4, and this one is more so about what you're thinking about when you're doing lateral raise, and possibly my favorite of the 5 mistakes and things that just to fix when you're doing this is, obviously when you're doing a lateral raise, you're trying to go from the weight down by your side to the weight up at shoulder level. And this is because you want to shorten and lengthen the muscle as much as possible, and that would be a full rep. That would be full range of motion. But when you're doing a lateral raise, you want to focus on pressing the weight outward rather than lifting it up. Why? Because when you just focus on lifting this weight up, you're much more likely to start engaging your traps instead of just your deltoid. By focusing on pressing the weight outward, you're a lot more likely to keep your shoulders depressed, and you're a lot more likely to isolate that deltoid as much as possible, versus when you do just try to lift the weight up. Now you're gonna be getting the delts activated, but you're also going to be shrugging up because you're just trying to lift up like this rather than actually pressing it out. Something that I really like to do personally is think of that there's a fence down here by my side, and I'm trying to push the weight up under it. So I'm keeping my shoulder down while pressing my arm outward, and that allows me to get the best contraction in my deltoid. So next time you're going to do this, focus on pressing your shoulders and you're focus on pressing your elbows outward rather than actually lifting them up. And the 5th and final mistake, and obviously there's other mistakes, but these are just the 5 most common that I see, is raising the weight up too high. Because this is another thing that is really common you want to watch out for, because when you think lateral raise, you think just raising it up to infinity and beyond. But you actually want to stop, if you're trying to go for isolation of the deltoid, you actually want to stop when your elbow is in level with your shoulder. Because the whole emphasis of a lateral raise is to shorten this deltoid muscle as much as possible. So you're trying to bring your arm up in line with your shoulder. So the origination and the insertion point of the muscle, you want to bring those as close together as possible. Up here, now you're working that trap. Down here, and you're isolating that delt as much as you possibly can. So next time you go to do lateral raises, when you bring them up, really focus on getting a nice clean contraction up to when your elbows are in line with your shoulders and nothing above that, unless you're also trying to build your traps. But if you're really just going for deltoid isolation, you're trying to get those wider shoulders, you're trying to get that 3D appearance with your delts, really just focus on bringing your elbows in line with your shoulders and then going back down, and that is your full range of motion. So that's the 5 most common mistakes or worst mistakes that I see made with lateral raises. Next time you go to the gym, try these out. If you like this video, make sure you're subscribing. I got new content like this coming all the time. We're coming up on 1 million subscribers, which is really exciting, and we're gonna be doing something cool for it. So make sure you subscribe and you got notifications on, that way you don't miss out on any future videos. If you're wanting more shoulder videos, I'm gonna throw a card right above here. It's either here or here, and you can go watch more exercises and workouts on shoulders to start building some muscle and make sure you're doing it right. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.